We're going to talk about air assault in this one, so stand by. Hey team, we're talking about air assault. Some of the things that you need to do right now to prepare to go. Some of the things that you can expect while you're there, and what you need to do after you get out and you go back to your unit. So if you've ever been to air assault, man, make sure you drop some comments, and that way we can continue to keep this conversation rolling, right? That's what it's all about, and enlarging a conversation. So there's two big things that I need you to do to get ready to go and attend air assault, which is hands down a fantastic school to get to if you're not at Campbell, and where you're probably going to go there if you're there. If you're outside somewhere and some MTTs are coming, or it's being hosted there for whatever reason, man, you need to try to get to this school. It's a fantastic and fun, high-paced course that's going to kick your butt but teach you a lot of awesome stuff. So in preparation to attend air assault, before you get there, there's two things that I need you to do. One, grab that packing list, go through it, get everything laid out, and then check your list twice, and then check it 3 times, and then pack your rucksack, and then unpack it and double check your stuff, and then pack your rucksack again. And then after everything is in your ruck, do not touch what is inside your rucksack, ever. What that means, the implied tasks, is that you need a couple pair of running shoes, right? Because you have one on your packing list that needs to be inside your rucksack. So when you're doing PT during the rest of the course, then my suggestion to you is have another set of shoes. Do not take the risk of taking something out of your ruck and then it not being there for those dadgum layouts and those inspections. I've seen it happen right after that 12-mile ruck at the very end, and somebody failed to have an item. This is like, man, we'll see you next time. So that's not something that you want to do. So go through that list, take it serious, do your PCCs, make sure you have everything packed right, and that you can get it all laid out well. However you want to pack your rucksack, man, that's on you. But I can tell you, man, you need to make sure that you have everything on that list. And my suggestion to you, what I would submit to you, is once it's there, leave it there. Don't start taking stuff out because you're going to forget to put something back in. 2, when it comes to, preparing physically, get out and do your train up and use everything that's in that packing list, because that's what you're going to have. You're not going to have anything more, anything less, other than a weapon. That's the only other thing that you're going to have. So get out and do your 12 miles, get out and do your 6 miles, and make sure that you can get through these things okay. When you get to air assault school, man, it's going to be a suck fest, right? So no matter what kind of shape you're in, I don't care if you're a private, I don't care if you're a sergeant first class, a captain, a major, and you go to air assault, you're going to get smoked on day 0 when you show up. And you're doing your physical fitness evaluations, and you're going through the obstacle course, and you're doing a foot march, man, you're going to get smoked. In between all of your obstacles, man, you're going to get smoked. Like there's just no way around it. So you need to understand that going in, that it's not personal, it's nothing against you, it's nothing against your classmates. It just is what it is. And this is what you need to get through in order to get the training that you need in order to be able to go out and do some daggum sling load operations. So while you're there, you're going to get smoked. And I can tell you, you need to have fun with it, right? It's not personal. So have fun. For example, we're doing the up and forward for some corrective training, right? And we're just out there, right? So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Well, he's counting cadence, right? So I'm just going 98, 99, 100, however far we got up to, and he goes, and the cadre, he counts it off to end, right? So he's like 1, 2, 3, and everybody's like halt, and man, we were absolutely destroyed. Well, by this point in time in it, I was a little lucid, right? And I can get a little wily. So I was like, you know what? So he was like 1, 2, 3, and they're like halt. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and everybody's like, what the is wrong with this guy? Everybody's looking around, and finally I could just kept going, and they started to count in with me, and pretty soon the entire class was continuing to do the up and forward. I think we probably did another 30 or 40 reps, so it was probably close to 200 at the end of the day. And then cadre, man, they're like, these dudes are freaking nuts. So what happened after? They never tried to smoke us like that again, because they realized that A, we're having fun. You can't smoke. You can't bring no smoke to somebody who's gonna smoke themselves, right? So we had fun. It was a freaking fantastic time. While you're there, so that first portion of air assault is gonna be a little bit more academic, and you're gonna learn all about rotary operations and how to identify helicopters and what their capacities and payloads and all of these things are and all their nomenclature. And you're going to take a test, a written examination, and mine was closed book, so I had to know all of this stuff and be able to regurgitate it from my mind, that Rolodex in my mind. Once you get that aside, you kind of brain dump some of that stuff, and then you start getting ready for your sling load inspections and preparing some basic sling load operations and being able to go in and find discrepancies. And you have to pay attention to what you're doing. Now, from my experience, our instructors were hands down, they were staying late after work and making sure if anybody had any questions that they were there to answer them, because what you need to do is get your system in place so that you do the same thing the same way every single time for that water buffalo, for that pallet, for that Humvee, whatever it is that you're inspecting for your evaluation. You need to be able to go and work through the exact same way and understand what all those discrepancies are that you could be looking for. But you don't want to start maybe in one corner of a Humvee, go around to the other side, and then come back. You have to get down this perfect rotation of going from front to back, top to bottom, and do it the same way every time until you can find all of these things, until it just becomes second nature. And ask your instructors, say, hey, man, let's go over a few more things, man, because they're the ones who are evaluating you. So it doesn't even matter what Stoker says and what Stoker's experience was. You have evaluators that are there, they're dedicated, they don't want to see you fail. So peg your questions on them and get them some extra hands-on. Like, so what if you're there for an extra 30 or 40 minutes after getting smoked all day? If you have an instructor who's willing to do that for you, then do it. Once that portion is over, and now it's getting ready to have your fun time, right? So now we're doing some rappelling, and we're having fun. We're hitting the towers, and we're rappelling out of the helicopters. Absolutely fantastic time. I can tell you, man, again, if you can get there, you need to go. You need to earn this badge, and you need to, once you get back to your unit, apply the skills. So how can you do that? So odds are, you know, if you are attending this school and you're not at Campbell, you may not be doing sling load operations all the time. But I can promise you that there's folks like me in your organization that would love to see us do some of this stuff, whether it's just some hot cold load training, whether it is some sling load operations. Maybe you just want to tool around a Humvee. Maybe it's a team that you can get moving. So if you find the airfield that is supporting you, and you go talk to these aviators, man, pilots want to fly. So if you're at JBLM, you know, if you're over in Hawaii, if you're on East Coast, West Coast, overseas, like, doesn't even matter. Every single pilot wants to fly. So you just need to go talk to these folks and say, hey, what can we do to try to reserve and get some stuff locked in so that we can put this on our training calendar? And they're going to work with you. And you may need to get an XO involved, you may need to get a PL or platoon sergeant, whatever it is, involved in these conversations, but I can promise you, you can make it happen. And then once you do that, then the sky becomes the limit. I had a great team chief in Hawaii, Buck Sergeant, who did that very same thing, right? He went down to Iowa, he talked to the aviators, like, hey, we're going to do some hot cold load training, and got a whole training plan planned out, laid out, risk assessment done, whole 9 yards, presented it. And of course, who's going to say no? Nobody's going to say no, because it was badass training. So you can do it. It just may take a little bit of extra work, but the training is going to be outstanding. So I was a little all over the place, but team, I'm telling you, man, get to the school, use these skills, and have a daggum great time. Leave some comments down below, and that way maybe it's another school that we need to talk about, or any other thing that you got, whether it's leader development, getting ready for a board, whatever it is that we need to talk about in order to put stuff in your kit bag that's going to help you. Consider sharing this out with a friend or battle buddy. We'll keep this conversation rolling. As always, until then, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked.